So, welcome to the weigh-in. It's a show where we look at the hot fishing points competition and look at the winners throughout the season. We have now finished week 13 of the summer season. I'm with my co-host Rich Chapman, and we're going to look at the winners of each of the different categories, and we're going to give out the prizes as well. We're going to identify who the prizes are going out to. So, Rich, welcome.
Cheers, mate. So, yeah, this is it, isn't it?
This is it. It's time to give out some of the prizes. These are the best anglers out of. There were 7,600 something unique anglers part of the summer season. So really interesting, I find, to see, just get an idea for how big the match scene is. And I think that's just going to keep growing as well.
That's it. And obviously you're seeing each season more and more people getting involved, buying tickets and all that side of things. So it's been an interesting one, hasn't it? There's sort of a few where you've watched them through the season and they've like ticked over and kept ahead up like from week one almost, whereas there's others where it's been like up and down all over the place, and especially as you get down to sort of the lower payout places as well, there's plenty to follow over the course of the season. I'm sure it'll be similar next season.
Exactly. Yeah. And just as a summary for people to know, there is so long as you're in a match scored on hot fishing, you're going to see your results in the table here, but you have to have a ticket to be in with the prizes. So that's what we're going to look at now. So I'm really happy to see on the overall here that Dave Chapman, who's a Tunnel Barn Farm regular and the overall country winner, also had a ticket. So he's winning 500 quid for that. And knowing some of the other categories, we're going to look at, some of the lads that finished top didn't actually have a ticket, so they're going to be kicking themselves.
That's it. So obviously, yeah, little ticket icon on the left-hand side is the important one. Obviously, Dave has done Chris Weeder's one, or Chris Weeder Senior's one that's missed out. Obviously, second overall with 122 points. But then you see Ryan and Steve Curtis both have got tickets. So, but yeah, it's been an interesting one following it through. I think Dave's been mega consistent over the year, over the season, hasn't he? He's pretty much been there or thereabouts, and obviously, between him and Chris Weeder Senior, few points, but then quite a big gap down to sort of Ryan Lidgard and Stephen Curtis, and then it gets ultra tight on that sort of upper 100 points on there. So it's been an interesting one. You can see obviously Ryan fishing on the opens. You got Dave and Steve Curtis on the club side of things. So it's a nice mix of anglers as well. And as you go further down, you've got a mix of venues as well, from sort of like Bradshaw's, Westwood, Partridge, all venues that you see featuring a lot throughout the kind of upper table, shall we say.
Exactly. And these I would call the pioneering venues, right? I think they're amazing venues anyway, and it doesn't surprise me that they were the first to jump on something like this, because they can see how it's helping the sport. Now, my job in the back end now is to get all the venues signed up. Well, my job and yours, actually, if you're an angler watching this and want to be part of it, tell your venues about this. We do have a service now where even if they don't want to use hot fishing, the venues can just send us a message, a WhatsApp us the weigh sheets after the match, and we'll type them up on their behalf. So your matches can be part of this. So now we really want to get this scale to the whole country, because I think that's when it becomes really, really interesting for everyone.
That's it. And different venues obviously throw different anglers into the mix. So yeah, if you're not seeing your venues featured, or the venues around where you go, obviously give them a nudge, get them on it, and the better it will get as we go along.
Absolutely. So congratulations, Dave. You are the winner of the £500 overall category.
Yep.
So week 13 of 13 of the Summer League, and this, Rich, is how the open table has played out. And I can see 3 people who are going to be kicking themselves right away.
Yeah, that's it. I think this is the first one we've had this season where the winner's not actually had a ticket. So Chris Weeder Senior, obviously mega consistent at Partridge Lakes, fishes there week in, week out, 122 points, pretty much ran away with it and ruined a nice tight table. Didn't have a ticket, so won't be getting any money. The same with Mick Crosby and Gary Wally as well. So yeah, I think we'll work our way down the table, because you can see round that sort of 100 to 109 points is ridiculously tight on the open side of things. You've got sort of your top 15 or so anglers pretty much within a few points of each other. So makes for a really interesting league, and it's been sort of up and down all season. But you can see the highest placed in the Opens with a ticket. So picking up the what's first prize for the Opens this season? £700. So we've got Ryan Lingard, who I know it's obviously got added by Partridge Lakes, but he's been fishing all over the place this season, fishing a lot at sort of Westwood Lakes and Messingham Sands. I think he's been doing dead well at. You see just how tight it is. You've got Stephen Koback in second, 107 points. Fishes Bradshaw's a lot, did really well last season as well. And then Mike Senior on the same point. So it's probably worth just mentioning how it works if there is a tie on points. What does that come down to?
Yeah, so when there's a tie on points, it comes down to who has the most first places, then has the most second places. So let me pull this up actually so people can see how to check that. So you can see here we've got who was on 2 places. We've got Stephen and Mike both on the same points. If you click this little drop down here, it shows you how many first, seconds, and third each angler has. So you can see Stephen had 9 firsts, and if you click Mike, he had 5 firsts. So that kind of bumps him up there. So if you draw on first, it goes to second. And I think that's the same for between Ian and John as well. So if you drop Ian, he had 11 firsts, and John, he had 7. So anybody can go in and kind of see how people are doing.
So that's just obviously if it's level on points, almost like your goal difference sort of thing, isn't it? So it just gives you that differentiation. But you can see, say, John Jones both on 106 points, then you're sort of 102, right down to Richie O'Connor, who snuck in last in the money, winning himself 200 quid in the process with 81 points. So you can see there, bit of a jump in points, which obviously means there's been quite a lot of people in that gap who won't have had a ticket and will have missed out on there. So
exactly.
But that, yeah, I think this is a prime one where it'll be mega when we get even more venues on board. You can see like Partridge Lakes, Westwood Lakes, Bradshaw's, Messingham. They're the ones that are cropping up all the time at the top of the table. Obviously, plenty of anglers fishing, regular matches, big matches as well. So it'll be interesting sort of over the coming seasons as you do get more venues involved and making it so you can score points at more places. Just seeing how that mixes up the table, because obviously you're getting a lot of the Partridge and Westwood lads that are doing really well week in, week out, that generally push right up the table. So it'll be interesting over the coming months and seasons how that does start to change.
Absolutely, and that's our job number one, right? We've kind of built the infrastructure. People can see how it works, and a lot of people like it. It's now just getting every single venue on here, because that's what the Open League is essentially, right? It's the battle of the fisheries, which is kind of the Open League. So if we can get them all on there, we're obviously contacting them ourselves. If you're an angler that wants to be part of this, tell your fishery that you'd love them to be part of this. They can even, your fishery, if they don't want to use hot fishing themselves for scoring the match, they can just send us in photos of their weigh sheets. We've got a system in which they can do that now as well. So there is zero effort for them to do that. They're already sticking it on Facebook, and so they can just send it to us as well. So let your fisheries know if you want to be part of this, because I think in the next couple of seasons, this would be really, really cool. And that's the end game, to have every single venue in the UK as part of this, so we can truly find the best anglers.
That's it. And you're already starting to see anglers that have obviously got tickets that get to that halfway point in the season and are in the mix. They're out actively looking for venues that are using hot fishing. That becomes part of their sort of checklist when they're picking a venue to go to. It's like, how many anglers are there? Are they using hot fishing? Can I score points at that? Obviously, the more places that are doing it, the more anglers you're going to get coming. So it's all from both sides, be it your anglers winning more money, the fact that they can win hundreds and hopefully thousands in the future. And you obviously from the venue side of things, you've got more anglers coming, more anglers wanting to come, and we keep going on about it. It gives them the extra motivation. So it's almost like when you run in a league, you get anglers turning up in conditions they probably wouldn't normally for a bog standard Open.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, we get like tens of thousands of visitors of anglers to the site searching for matches as well. So I think the other motivation for the venues as well is if you're scoring any matches on here, when they're using all the search features on Hot Fishing, you appear as those matches. And then obviously we're going to start to flag up on the maps. These are the venues on here, but these are the ones where you can also get your points as well. So we've spent the last few years just trying to get this platform built because it's been quite a beast of a job. But now it's that real kind of promotion side of it, the promotion to get the venues signed up to it, but then also that this is something that you have to be part of. So like I said, we've made it really easy for the venues to now submit their results. They just have to send us a photo. So yeah, if you're an angler, want to be part of this, tell your organizer, get them to send us results, and then let's make this the truly finding the best anglers in the country. So, Rich, week 13 of 13 for the Summer League, and this is how the club category has played out. Dave has run away with it. I think that's fair to say. But lots of people who don't have tickets finishing pretty high, and people that have got tickets finishing low and still in the prizes, which I think is a great incentive to get involved early on.
Yeah, I'm just looking at that as well. When you see people like that, Danny Barsdell, obviously in the same club, a couple of lads in his club have actually finished higher than him, so he's going to have like mega bragging rights, isn't he?
Yeah.
But yeah, obviously, as you say, Dave Chapman winning the overall, obviously winning the club at the same time as well with 128 points. But then it starts getting quite tight in that sort of like 90s, low 100 sort of ballpark. There's Stephen Curtis, who did really well last season as well, I think, didn't he? He was right up in the mix. But I think the nice thing you're seeing here is you've got a proper mix of sort of clubs and venues and stuff like that, and all over the country as well. You've got sort of, when we go on to the next page later on of the final results, you've got people from Essex, you've got people from the Isle of Wight, people fishing sort of up north, people fishing Tunnel Bot. You've got like proper mix of venues, which is what you want to see on something like this, where it is covering the whole of the country and you're fishing against everyone in the country. But as you can see, obviously different clubs getting involved. But as we've said it a million times.
Here, so... Go on, sorry, mate.
We've said it a million times before, for this sort of level, the sort of money they can be winning at a club fishing level is ridiculous. Like you can see, obviously, Dave topping it off with 700 quid. Obviously, that goes alongside the 500 quid he's won as well for the overall season. That's between clubs, opens, and majors. But you can see going down there, you've got Stephen Curtis winning 500 quid. Mick Brown, a Partridge regular, 450. Tunnel Barn, Wirral, Isle of Wight. You got all sorts on there, and I think that's going to be a prime example of people missing out on money by not buying a ticket. So I reckon, I don't know where sort of Ken will have finished with 67 points, but he's definitely not going to be on the first page of the results.
Exactly.
You can see what we got Simon West. So he's going to be in the 20s or 30s, somewhere like that. And he's still, because he's got a ticket, he's still picked up 200 quid for his efforts of buying a, 30 quid ticket that season.
Exactly. And that's what's been nice to see is I've seen more clubs signing up than anything in the last couple of months. So I think kind of the next couple of seasons is going to be really exciting. So people will know that tickets aren't on sale for the autumn season. That's simply because this has grown so fast that the platform we built it on just couldn't handle the amount of anglers, and it was just drudging to a halt. So we've had to pause it for one season just to rebuild the whole bloody back end. Like, my developers are like, we just need some time to do that. But come winter, when we can start again, it's going to be great. It's going to be much faster. And like I say, I've seen so many more clubs signing up. I think this will be really kind of fun, especially as more people start to buy tickets, and we can kind of take those prizes down to the top 20, top 30.
Definitely. And you get, obviously, the banter between the clubs, and sort of, if you've got a few of the lads doing well right up there battling it out, it's going to make the matches themselves more interesting between you, that you're not only fishing for the match on the day, but you've got who can nick the extra points here and there and push the way up the table. And as you can see, it's like proper money at the moment, but give it a season or two as you get more and more people signing up to it, that could be in the thousands as opposed to the hundreds quite easily.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But yeah, obviously you can see Dave Chapman's pretty much led it the entire season, we're going to say. Pretty much been there or thereabouts, been mega consistent fishing the vets matches at Tunnel Barn Farm. And obviously he's benefited from the size of the matches there. They've always a massive attendance, sort of regularly 50, 60, even 70 anglers on midweekers, and it's like consistently like that. So obviously he's done really well. And you look at his results for the season, you sort of, the amount firsts, seconds, thirds is ridiculous. So he's been mega consistent and obviously paid off winning both the clubs and the overalls, but obviously still plenty of money for everyone else in the chasing pack to be fishing for.
Absolutely. So, like I say, keep your eye on it for the rest of the autumn season. Any match you scored on the platform, you'll still be able to see how you're doing, so you can follow along just for fun. And then in a couple of weeks, we're going to start to introduce the tickets for the winter season. And like I say, I think it's going to be a lot more fun, a lot more partnerships that we've got building that's going to kind of help build the buzz around the competition as well. So yeah, so thank you for being involved. The people that have won this, someone from our admin team will be in touch with you in the next couple of days to collect your bank details and kind of take payment. So yes, someone will reach out to you in the next day or so. So the final results from the majors results of Hot Fishing Points Tournament summer season. So the majors are all those events, essentially those with qualifiers. Jamie, I would say, has run away with this at the end of the season, done really well. But what's really interesting here is, although every angler is part of it, it's only those with a ticket who win the prizes. And you can see that has been really scattered out throughout the table.
I think this is a prime example, isn't it? Because last season, obviously, Jamie was at the top but didn't have a ticket. So I think he was one of the first ones to get a ticket for the majors this season. So 91 points, but it's a bit unsurprising. The amount of qualifiers he's doing, he spends his summers pretty much chasing just them, not fishing any open matches. So he was going to be very hard to beat. But obviously, away from first place, you've got a lot of anglers in the mix. You can obviously see that the spread of the tickets, you're right down to 20th place for, what are we on, 6th place on the tickets. But you can see the likes of Andy Bennett on 37 points, Ryan Lidgard on 46, Art Hilmy, who was he the highest place last season with a ticket on the majors?
He was, yes.
I believe. Yeah, so he's snuck in second again with 60 points. But I think he's sort of a big sort of advocate of the system, isn't he? Where we all know how brutal it is going to these qualifiers week in, week out, where you might not be drawing well, you might know you're not going to win the match, but going to your peg with that sort of mentality that I'm going to get the most out of it, I'm going to get my points, going to try and win a few quid on the hot fishing side of things. It gives another element to them matches, which can be, especially if you're not on a good run, can end up brutal. Exactly. But you can see there, like, plenty of money to be won.
Maybe some matches that Art would have packed up and gone home. He probably stayed a little bit longer, fished a bit for anything, and it's paid off with an extra 450 quid.
Yeah, that's it. And then when you're fishing like that, you're probably more likely to win a section as you go along and stuff like that. That suddenly you win, like, you're probably not making a fortune because they're expensive as anything to fish, but you can make a few quid back, covering a bit of your fuel and giving yourself the opportunity to go and fish more of them. But you can see there, obviously, Art Hilmy in second, winning 450 quid. Young Brad Lucas, he's been putting in a proper effort this season, going all over the place, winning 400 quid, and going right down, Andy Bennett, Craig Tidwell, Ryan Lidgard, and Lee Thornton with 29 points. So you can see you didn't need an awful lot of, you could tick away. You don't need to be winning these sort of qualifiers week in, week out to be picking up money. You just need to be consistently in the sort of top half of the table, and you're picking up points. And that's the important thing. And then over the course of the season, they add up. And obviously you can see winning actual money at the end of it.
Yeah, I mean, it's worth mentioning that we are actually going to phase out the majors as a competition, because the reality is people are typically fishing majors and opens, right? And I think it's just diluting the ability to get involved. So come the future seasons, majors will be classed as just another open. We'll still have this filter, so you can still see the results of just the major. So you won't lose anything there if the people are interested in that. But I think for people, making it easier for them to buy a ticket and understand what's going on, we're going to make that change across the season.
Yeah, I think that's it, isn't it? There's only a handful of anglers like you, Jamie Hughes and Andy Bennett's and stuff, that will just fish these qualifiers. And most you see, even like Christian Jones is a prime example, that he is at a lot of these qualifiers, but he's also sort of dotting his time between open matches as well. So I think combine them all, if you're fishing these big qualifiers, you're still getting the advantage because they are generally bigger matches. So if you're finishing right up there, you'll be getting your bonus points for the number of participants. So there's definitely benefits to fishing these big matches if you're doing well, but I think it'll make it a bit more interesting to throw in all these names, the likes of Jamie, your Andy Bennett's, all those, into the mix in the opens to see just how it all plays out over the course of a season. And especially as we go into the sort of the winter season, it's going to be dead interesting because you're going to have a mix of like silverfish matches, your carp matches, and a bit of everything. So it'll be dead interesting to see how that all plays out, and obviously gives you the chance to see how you stack up against these sort of top lads. But I think
exactly, and this has been going less than a year. And it's been going less than a year, right? Like, I'm sure we'll keep changing the rules to make it more fair. We're figuring it out a little bit as we go along. But yeah, I think that is going to be a good one for making more people, I think, want to get involved.
That's it. And I think it's probably worth mentioning now that I was having a chat with Jamie. He was meant to be on this, but he's been at Larford on the last Golden Reel qualifier. So I think he's still stuck in traffic at the moment on the way back. He's decided he's going to do something a bit different with his prize money, isn't he? He's not taking it as such. I think he's asked you to transfer it over into tickets that he's going to give people the opportunity to win for the winter season. So
exactly, Jamie's been a massive advocate of this, as of all you guys at Winning Ways, because I think seeing that this is kind of something that the sport needs, right? So yeah, so Jamie's going to transfer that into tickets. I think we're going to do some giveaway over on the Winning Ways channel as well. So I think that's a really cool way of Jamie showing his support for this.
That's it. So there'll be an opportunity for, even if you don't want to pay your money, opportunity to win yourself a ticket and obviously get involved in the scoring for, it's going to be the winter season, isn't it? Because there's a load of work going on the back end over autumn just to sort of deal with the amount of numbers and everything, isn't there? So
this has grown so fast. So even in the summer season, we had like 7,500 unique anglers, which is the amount of, you can imagine scoring every single match across the country, all those different anglers. It's just become such a beast in the back end that we've had to just restructure how we're doing it. So you can still follow your season in autumn, so the results are all still there, but we didn't sell tickets for that season because we just need to do so much work in the back end. So then come winter, we can really hit the ground running again. And like I say, do some co-promotion with you guys at Winning Ways, giving away tickets and just kind of looking at the matches on there. I think it's just going to hopefully be a nice thing to follow along, but also just promote you guys, the anglers, a lot more throughout that season.
Yeah, and that winter season especially is going to be dead interesting, because when you look at the bigger matches, you've got all sorts going on, especially like the natural side. You've got loads going on. You've got seems to be a massive boom at the moment with the sort of commercial silverfish side. Got like Gary Rogers running his qualifiers, Angling Trust, Fish South doing one now, and obviously got all your big winter leagues across the country. So I reckon it's going to be even more interesting on who you get up at the top. You can have a proper mix of naturals and commercial silverfish carp. So it's going to be dead interesting one to follow through and one to look forward to for everyone who's getting involved.
And loads more venues as well. Like, we are working tirelessly to get as many venues as we can signed up to this. So yeah, kind of, if you go to a venue that doesn't use this yet, tell them about hot fishing. All they need to do is send us the results and we'll enter it on their behalf. But I think that's the other thing that makes this more exciting, right? When every single venue in the country is on here.
That's it. And you can get a proper idea of who's ultimately been the most consistent, best angler for that season. So proper bragging rights, and obviously the prize money at the moment for what was a 30 quid ticket is mega, like 500 for loads of money being paid out. But that can only go up as more and more people get involved. So hopefully it won't be long before it's in the thousands, maybe even higher, and making it really interesting competition and up there with the likes of sort of Fishermania and all of that.
Exactly. So, I mean, we gave away over 10, I mean, we're giving out 10 grand's worth of prizes in total. But yeah, I think when it becomes 10, 15 grand winning prizes, that's when it really pops off as well. So obviously we've had to spend the last year doing this just to get the whole platform built. But now we'll focus on really kind of getting that prize pot up. That my ambition is this becomes, because there's so many anglers involved in this, like I say, 7,500 unique anglers in the last season, that it doesn't take many of those to buy a ticket, that we can easily have the biggest prize pot in the sport. So of course everyone's still going to chase the qualifiers and do all that, but knowing that I just have to rank well in this match because I want the points, because I'm going to actually win a bigger prize if I can get that.
Definitely.
Brilliant. All right, Rich, thank you, my friend.
That's it. Thanks for having us. Ta-da!
Right. So now we're going to be looking at the Women's League, and we're joined by Emily Mather, who was the winner of this season's Women's League. So Emily, welcome and congratulations.
Thank you.
So we'll have a little chat in a minute about your season and just kind of the Women's League in general. But let me just explain to people first quickly how we did the scoring for this, because everybody's got opinions on this. I'll be curious to get Emily's as well. That can we tweak it to make it better? So the reason that we created this way, it's very much like the juniors, that there are only a few female-only matches throughout the year, but there are often females are fishing within just normal matches, right, with everybody else. So what we tried to do with this here is, if a female angler creates an account on Hot Fishing and identifies herself as a female, the platform can then automatically pull their results out wherever they're in a match and put them into a league table like this, just because it's nice then to see everybody together, because I know the female anglers like to kind of compete against each other. How the scoring works is the maximum points you get are based on how many are in your match. So if there's 50 in the match and you won it, you get 50 if you won the match. And if you came last in the match, you'd get 1 point. So it just kind of, you always get points no matter where you finish. And like I say, it just allows us then to put everybody together. Can that be refined to make more fair? Probably. I just don't know a better way of doing it yet. So I'm all open. So, Emily, you've been a massive advocate of this, and I really appreciate you kind of sharing it. Is this something that when you're fishing now is in the back of your mind, the points?
Yeah, definitely. There's been a few rainy days the past couple of months, and I thought to myself, I really don't want to go out in the rain. And then I'm thinking, no, but I need to get me points. I need to get me points. So it is encouraging me more to get out, because I have been guilty of a few staying in bed days rather than getting up and actually going out. I'm not going to lie.
Of course. And that's what we're hoping kind of happens throughout the winter, right? For the organisers doing Hot Fishing or using Hot Fishing, it's a way of getting their anglers to come when it's a bit colder. Rich, that's something that you've said a few times yourself, right? That when you don't want to get up, if it is, you are going to get a couple of points, it's worth it.
Yeah, it's the same as when you sort of sign up to a winter league or something like that. It just gives you that reason to go, that even if you know you're not going to win the league or you've drawn rubbish, you still try, you still fish the match. And it's almost that team fishing mentality rather than sort of qualifier or open mentality. And yeah, it's good for fishing. And I think you enjoy it more at the end of it as well. You've not gone, oh, pack up early and sulk. It's, I'll go get the most out of my peg and just go fishing.
Yeah. Emily, how many female anglers do you think there are in the UK? We were chatting a little bit off camera about this.
Definitely not enough. Like I said, I think there's about 3 million anglers across the UK, and I don't think that even 10% of them are female.
Mm-hmm.
It is a difficult one. I would love to see more females out on the bank.
And then I think it's when you subcategorize them, right? There's female anglers, then there's female anglers within match fishing, which I think is a really small amount then as well.
Yeah, definitely.
And that's what we're hoping to do with this, like the Women's League as well as the Young Anglers League as well. That one thing we're trying to do with hot fishing is make it better for people that go fishing today and kind of give it a bit of polish and make it a bit more modern. But the other kind of big ambition is just to get more people into the sport. And I'm hoping with the Women's League, when kind of young women are looking in, they can see that there is a thriving women's scene within the sport, and hopefully it's an incentive for them to kind of get along. So that's one of the bigger ambitions with this as well. It's like, say, with the women and the junior. Because it's nice to just see everyone in one table, right? All the names that you probably recognise.
Yeah, definitely, because you've only got one event throughout the full year that gives you any recognition. We've got Lady National, there's not really much else. I know myself, I always go in all the big qualifiers, as many as I can, but you only really have that one opportunity to get that title. So it's nice to have something to work towards throughout the year rather than just that one event defining you.
Mm-hmm. And I'm sure you see a lot of this, Emily, and I hope you don't mind me bringing it up. Like people going, why do women need their own league? Because there's no disadvantages to it. And what I hear from that, I'll be interested, like, is the competitiveness I see the women against each other. Like just the comments that I get on some of the tables here and people checking the results. Like you kind of want to compete against your peers as much as anything. What's your take on that?
It's very mixed because I get where the comments come from, but it is nice to have, like, with it being such a small minority, it is nice to be able to be recognised that bit more. And a lot of women, some of them don't blog, so to see their name on the table, it's like, oh, someone new, like there is more females coming up. So it's a hard one. I get where people come from, but at the same time, what they've got to understand is it is only a small group of individuals. It's not as if it's as big as any other sort of category.
Exactly. And like I say, as I said at the start, if we want to get more kind of female anglers into the sport, I think seeing that there's a thriving scene is going to be a big part of that.
Yeah, and also you've got the table there every week to like push them. Do you know what I mean? It's like raining today, better get up, they need me points.
Exactly. And right now we're just trying to get the infrastructure in place that you can actually see this. Obviously the ambitions are to have bigger prizes, right? Like how you grow sports are to have bigger prizes that people go, shit, like this is worth getting into, or rather than just going fishing down the canal like with your mom and dad, they're saying actually if we get our daughter into this, they can actually make something of it. So the ambitions for us of really taking this forward as something that people can get into and do well from are definitely there, that drive to do that. But you have to start somewhere, right?
Absolutely. I mean, it's one of the most technical sports as well. The only sport where your target changes every week. I don't think like non-anglers really understand how difficult fishing can be. So it's nice for everybody to see, like have a platform as well that everybody can see, oh, well, what area were they in? Was it good? What date was it? And you can go back to like last year and see what the results were and stuff. So I think it gives that wider people who don't really know much, they have the opportunity to find out everything within the click of a few buttons. It's amazing.
I think what you've said there as well on it not being the fairest sport in the world, it levels it out a bit. Having it scored over the course of a season, over a few months, you sort of take out the good draws and the bad draws, and you get a proper representation of who's being consistent through the season, who's consistently doing well. It's not like, oh, someone's just drawn epicenter and won one match and blog about it and make themselves a hero. It's sort of a proper dive into it and work it all out.
I mean, you say that, I've had some absolutely, probably the worst draws that I've had this, like, over 2 years now. And I reckon this summer, like the past 13 weeks at these points, I've probably had the worst draws I've ever had. Like, it's just consistently bad draws. But it just shows you, even though I've had bad draws, I've still managed to make something and achieve. Even though I've not had the greatest, I've still managed to achieve something. So I think it does level it out a lot more.
Yeah, and that's the perfect example, isn't it, of going to your peg, it making your fish differently, and you probably know you're not going to win the match off a lot of the, especially like partridge and places like that. You're not going to win off every peg, but you can go and get the most out of it, get a few more points, and that's exactly what it's all about.
I mean, there's been a few live streams of my my reactions to my pegs this summer, and let me tell you, none of them have been me smiling. None of them.
Just see pegs like flying across the room and everything.
I'm just like, oh, every time it's just like shrug my shoulders. It's like, oh, I need to go. I need me points.
Yeah, but that's it, right? Because it plays out over the season, it's going to reward the consistency. And yeah, unfortunately, Emery, there was no big prizes this season, but I have promised that I will send you a trophy for winning this, because you are one of the pioneering female anglers. So we will send you something for this. And like I say, I'm hoping in the next coming seasons we can really start to get some big prizes into this.
You know what? I appreciate that. Thank you. Because the juniors that I take out, they've all got trophies and they've all got medals. And I've got so the juniors I take out coaching, I've got my trophy now. So we're all on even playing terms now.
Okay, there we go. And Rich, have you seen, like with female, have you seen more female anglers over the years? Have you seen it kind of picking up?
I think it's definitely when you go to sort of the younger side of things. You talk to the lads doing the sort of stuff for the Canal and River Trust and stuff like that. They're saying there's almost a 50-50 split at sort of the younger age groups, where there's people going along with the mums and stuff like that. So I think it's at the moment it's looking dead promising from who's coming into the sport and everything at the moment. So hopefully that can kind of carry on through over the next few years. You see more coming through, keeping it on, and obviously moving on to that next level, because I think that's going to be when it gets really interesting and sort of proves a point, when you see kind of females qualifying for Fishmania and stuff like that, and like bashing up blokes, and that's where people start to take real notice as well. So yeah, I think the next sort of few years could be proper interesting on that side of things.
That was good to see in the Canal and River Trust National Celebration this weekend. They used hot fishing, and I could see some of like the top individuals were the female anglers, right, and like the young ones as well. So yeah, they're kicking at the heels on the young level. So yeah, exciting times.
I think that's it.
You've got the progression route as well. You've got the progression route, so it's not as if they go out of the junior category or the cadets or anything like that, and there's nothing for them. Like they're against like the men straight away. They've got hot fish as well to compete. It's not just that one sort of, okay, well you're too old for this now, off you go. And it's like they've got something to support as well. It's amazing.
Great. And I'm hoping the organisers see that as well, right? If they've got any junior anglers or female anglers in their matches, like do it for them. If you don't want to do it for yourself, then do it for yourself, because I'm hoping it makes your life easier. That was plan A of what we're trying to do. But if you've got some young anglers or female anglers in your sport, it's really good for them as well as everyone else, right? Because all your anglers can then be part of it. Brilliant. Emily, I really appreciate your time. Congratulations. I'll be in touch with the week to send you a trophy. And Rich, as always, thank you for your insights.
Cheers, mate.
Thank you.
So we're now going to look at the winners of the Young Angler League from Hot Fishing Points. Now, this one is scored slightly different to the Adults Hot Fishing Points League. So on the Adults Hot Fishing Points, the top 10 anglers get points depending on where they rank. And with the Young Angler League, what I wanted to do is I realized that there are only so many young angler matches specifically around the country. Most of the time, the young anglers are fishing within adult matches. And what I wanted to do here was find a way that if we could identify all the young anglers, they can compete against each other around the country, even if they're not in the same matches. So how it works is the maximum points that young angler can get is based on how many are in the match. So if it's 50 in the match, they'd get 50 if they won it. If they came last in the match, they'd get 1 point. So they're always getting a point based on wherever they're competing. Now, as this is kicking off, there's obviously some anglers that are fishing qualifiers, and there's some that are just fishing kind of little lakes. So we probably need to balance this out a little bit as we go along. But the person we've got on this call is Josh Duffy, who is a hot fishing aficionado. He's the hottest young angler in the country right now and the winner of this. So welcome, Josh.
That's a right word, isn't it? That aficionado.
Don't know what it means, like.
Oh, neither do I. It's a bit too posh for me, is that, John? Word that they use that.
So congratulations, mate, on winning this.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, I've all my matches I fish are massive, so that usually helps. But just doing all my sort of canal matches and enjoying what I'm doing.
Yeah, and doing pretty well for England this season as well.
Yeah, that happened. That happened in the middle of it. That was a bit special, but
was that like sunk in yet, or is that still a bit?
No,
weird?
not sunk in. It's a bit weird. It's just a weird thing to think about, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's just mental.
But brilliant, mate. Congratulations. And congratulations on winning this, because yes, you are fishing the big matches, right? But I mean, it was you that I spoke with a lot about how to get this going, right? Like you and I have started to do some work together, and we were like, how can we start to get some exposure for the younger anglers? And I think this is it's only the second season we've done this, but it's still allowing the younger anglers to get a bit of shine throughout the season. So what are your thoughts on the scoring of this, Josh? Is there any way that you think we can improve it to make it more fair?
Right, well, it suits me. No, honestly, it's something we'd have to think about, but I'm not 100% sure how we'd do it yet, because the things you got to take into account, I guess, people, it's just there's different types of matches, different caliber of matches. It's weird because it's quite a hard one, really, isn't it? It's a really hard one to we could do it like we do with the adult leagues, but would there be as many points around, or?
I mean, that's another good point. The young anglers are automatically also in the adult competition as well. So this is just like a subsection. Like they're also going to see, if you're an amazing young angler, we're going to see like Brad Lucas, he's kind of finished in the top 5 of the majors. So do you know what I mean? Like if you're a younger angler, you're still in the adult leagues as well. Yeah.
It's pretty good, is that Brad Lucas? He's a pretty good angler.
I think it probably, to a degree, is working correctly, though. When you look at it, if you said sort of name 10 of the best young anglers in the country, most of those are probably going to be ones you mentioned. So it's probably is working on that side of things. Whether it is just a case that maybe you need to split it up a bit more into different age groups and stuff like that, because obviously you've got quite a lot of them lads in the top 5 are the ones fishing sort of qualifiers and stuff like that, where it is going to be 100 plus peggers. So that's going to make a difference. But you can't, like, when you go through that list, it is like proper who's who of like young anglers at the moment.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you mentioned that, Rich, because we already have that, and I think that's probably where we've gone wrong. So let me kind of share the screen at the moment. So on here, we put all of the anglers together, and you can already, if you click show filters here, you can filter by, this is how we've kind of categorized the age: cadets under 12, junior 13 to 15, youth 16 to 20, and then there's 20 plus. So you can already filter here and just see the different age groups. So it's already on there. For the sake of ease, we were just publishing the results with all of them mixed together. But we've already decided that, haven't we, Josh, that from this week, we're going to actually show the results of each of the age groups separately. I think that in itself does clean up a lot of this issue.
Tell you what, Rich, I hope you've added your age, because I've not seen you in cadets.
I might qualify next year for that.
Oh, right, yeah. No, I forgot you might be a bit too young yet.
Are we going on mental age or like actual age?
Well, bit of both. If it were mental age, I wouldn't even be on there yet.
Like under 5s or something.
Is this something, Josh, like in your fishing? I know some of the adults do it in the majors in particular, like changed your fishing at all when you're thinking about getting points for matches?
I mean, it definitely makes me, especially on my canal matches, every fish counts. And when I mean, the ones I've been fishing this summer, there's like 120 on. It definitely makes you go for the odd perch down the edge. Every gram counts on them. So just think over the course of the whole thing, 7 perch might have got me a few more points. So
yeah,
100% it comes into account.
And with this as well, it was like right now it's just the hard work is getting the infrastructure that we actually have a platform that we can do all this stuff. And now I think from the autumn season, we're kind of not doing prizes, but come winter, we want to start to introduce prizes for the young anglers as well. So Josh, you've been hassling for this. I'm going to get you a trophy to say well done, because I know that's I'm going to get you something for this.
What are you going to put on the trophy? What are you going to put on it? Legend. I think we should.
But
let Rich
the coming seasons, I think from the coming seasons as well. I think if we can start to bring some kind of good prizes into this, I think it's just going to get some more exposure for the young anglers as well. Because I think this does become a bit of an advert for the sport, right? Like if outsiders are looking in, especially young anglers, to see, oh, there are loads of young anglers. They're all in one space, and we kind of see how it works. I know there are loads of there's a Guru Academy and all that kind of stuff, but I think those one-off kind of events are okay. But this allows us to just see the consistency of the anglers across the season.
Yeah, 100%. I guess a lot of junior anglers don't really fish in the winter, and there's not really any junior events in the winter. So this would be the only sort of young angler event through the winter. I mean, I'm just saying that as an example, as that's obviously coming up soon. But 100%, I think it's something else for young anglers to fish for. So
yes, I hope so. And like I say, I think as the prizes kick in, this will become more and more important. Right now, it's just for fun while we just get the thing bloody built. And I think now we've got this and the infrastructure. Yeah, that turn this into one of the flagship junior prizes in the sport.
I mean, I love it. It means I get to wind up Brad Lucas.
So have you like literally just come in on the last week and just snuck him out of first place?
I think I might have done. I fished 4 matches on the last week because I fished the festival plus a big match on the Sunday. So I just snuck in.
Just ruined his life.
Yeah, a bit cheeky of me, really. He won't very happy with me, I don't think.
Yeah, we're going to be giving Brad a lot of money for the majors. He'll be fine. He'll get over this.
Yeah, and as you've already said, John, you're going to give me $1,000 for winning the young anglers one, which is brilliant.
Yeah. Trophy, Mickey Mouse little trophy.
I dream. Yes, that's all that counts for me.
One of them little chocolate
for any of the juniors, for any of the juniors watching this, like so long as the match is scored on Hot Fishing and you've created an account, you can put in your date of birth, and then once you've done that, all this stuff happens automatically. So if you do have an organizer that isn't using Hot Fishing, I've said in several videos before, they can just send us a photo of the weigh sheet after, and we can type this up. But ideally, they can do it themselves. But there's loads of ways to now get involved, and I think this is going to be something that really, really picks up in the next couple of seasons.